Hello everyone.
Hi.
We've got Laura Odette Phipps here with us, our special effects makeup tutor. In the background is Cerise, who is got her working away on day one of her special effects, working at sculpting a few different skin wounds. Is that what she's doing? Skin wounds?
Making flat mould prosthetic pieces ready to be applied, yes.
She doesn't quite get what she's doing yet, but it will
all become
materialise over the next few days, and then we'll share all the results with you. So I've decided to do a live with Laura here. The plan is to do a live once a month with an established hair and makeup artist, special effects artist, to kind of give you guys an insight to what it takes to become a makeup artist, how to find work, and how much work goes into actually getting work. So this is our first interview. Thank you very much, Laura.
I didn't have a choice. I was told I was doing it.
Yeah. one minute ago. So Laura, how long ago did you train in makeup?
Okay, so it's been quite a long road for me to get into TV and film, which is what I do now. So I started off at the London College of Fashion. I was there doing a 2-year degree, graduated from there in 2004. And then I went and worked at various counters. So I was manager for MAC, and then I went over to Stila Cosmetics, and then I went over to Benefit, doing all their sales and things like that for them. Quickly realised that retail wasn't for me, and that I wanted to be actually in the industry. So I, during that time, went over and did a lot of we paused. Went and did a lot of short films. So back in the day, we had websites called Mandy.com, Shooting People, and Talent Circle. I do think some of these still are around. I wouldn't pay for them, if I'm honest, though. But certainly going onto these websites, you can meet other student filmmakers, get onto their productions, and I pretty much learned everything that I could, such as, set etiquette, how to behave, the pressure, reading scripts, all of that sort of thing. And then it was a long road, carried on working in bars, all sorts of things around it. And then I went and retrained with Neil Gorton at Gorton Studios back in, I think it was 2006, 2008. And then from there, I just literally had to push myself. So my biggest weakness for getting into industry was I didn't like pushing myself. I felt like I was bothering people. I felt awkward, and I didn't think I was good enough. So I sort of had to teach myself to believe in myself a bit more, and also that I'm not bothering them. If people don't know who you are, they're not going to be able to hire you. So it was about getting a good portfolio together, getting my CV done, and I built a website. So once I had all of those three things, then I would sort of research production companies, effects houses, things like that, and send out my emails, really. And slowly but surely, people started to get to know who I was and start offering me work. But it's taken a long time. I've technically been at this 18 years, and probably only in the last 6 years I've been able to go freelance full time and run from one production to the next. So I'm currently on a TV show at the moment as supervisor for ITV, and then before that I was on Star Wars, before that I was on Artemis Fowl, before that I was on Doctor Who. So again, it's kind of running it like that. What I would say the biggest thing you need to do is get a good website. Absolutely, 100%. It's all very well having Instagram, and I think a lot of people, it's good to have Instagrams because it's easily accessible. It's just one click and all of the images are there. But in terms of applying for a job, people aren't necessarily going to want to scroll through all of your images. They're going to want to see specific things. So if you're applying for a special effects job, present your 6 best bits of special effects. If you're applying for a fashion job, present your 6 best photos. No one's going to want to scroll through 20 or 30 pictures on Instagram. And then obviously a covering letter is quite important, so address it to that person directly and make the letter that you're sending them specific. So what you do, who you are, why you think you'll be good for that job. And then wow them with a good CV and website.
And where do you find, I think most people ask me, how do I find people's emails? How do I find out who's working on what films? How do I find out who it is that I can contact?
So the way to do it really is, the way I did it is there's a thing called PCR, which is production costing report. It's quite expensive. It's about, last time I checked, it's about $250 a year. And it's basically it's called The Knowledge, and it's a book, and it shows every production house and what they're going to be doing for that year, and where possible, if they've crewed, who the name and the contact details of the crew are. So that is one way you can do it. I admittedly never did. And then the other option is you can basically Google. So Google production companies, filmmaking studios, things like that. Wherever it is, go onto their website. They will usually have an info at website, and just send out there. But I've sent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of emails in my time, and probably, you get 100 back for every 1,000. So the hit ratio is low. Don't be disheartened. Keep going, and eventually, people will read the email, or there will be a job that comes up, and it will be luck of the draw, really. It could be that you've emailed them on that specific day and they were just about to crew or looking for somebody with your skill set. So again, it is about that, and obviously getting to know somebody, really.
Yeah. It's about industry teams. Once someone knows you, they can pass you on to the next person as well. And like you say, it's about them being in the right place at the right time. If they're just looking for someone and suddenly you've gone, oh, hi, I'm here, they're quite likely to go, oh, great. And sometimes it's getting in touch a few times rather than just once. And like you say, that whole imposter syndrome of I'm not good enough, there's other people out there with a lot more experience with me, or maybe better skills with me. It is hard to believe in yourself, especially when it's in a creative industry. And I think everyone suffers from that. And one of those things, it sounds really harsh. I'm like, okay, so get over yourself, because you're actually going to have to get over yourself to jump over that hurdle and put yourself out there and do it. But obviously that's a lot easier said than done.
I think you can turn every negative into a positive. So being self-aware, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses is absolutely a positive, because then it enables you to figure out what you need to improve upon, and how to be the best at whatever it is that you want to accomplish in whatever part of the industry. But it can go a negative way. So a lot of the time you do see people that become quite complacent and quite jealous, and focus far too much energy on worrying what other people are doing, and looking at Facebook. And look, Facebook is just a snapshot. We just show our best selves on Facebook. It may look like someone's always working. I think I look like I'm always working. I'm usually not. I'm usually sat at home in my pants with the cat. But from someone on the outside that's not with you all day, it can look like, oh my gosh, this person's so successful. Why am I not? Why am I struggling so hard? Don't worry about what other people are doing, and don't get into being worried or comparing yourself to somebody else. Just focus on yourself. Think about what your strengths and weaknesses are, and certainly if you're at a point where you're not perhaps getting work, why do you think that could be? Could it be your website isn't good enough? Could it be that you need a little bit more experience? Could it be that you need stronger images, and then work on that way? So if your website isn't strong enough, there's so many free tools on there. You've got mine is Squarespace, I think, and it cost me £5 a month. It was free to build. I did have some help from my friend Selena, who builds them for a living, but it was just some advice there, and I've sort of taken it over from there. And then getting things like business cards made up. People still like a business card. I still like to leave a little card everywhere. And then if the CV's lacking and there's certain areas, then find a local photographer. Find a photographer whose images you like. I think that's important. You need to also make sure that it's somebody whose work you like. Contact them and say, look, hey, how would you feel about shooting some images together? In exchange, they get something different for their portfolio, because especially in special effects for us, I don't think many photographers have photographed zombies and werewolves and things like that, or gunshot wounds, and so they're usually quite excited about that and think, yeah, great, this will be something different for my portfolio, and you'll get really nice professional images as well, and it will have cost you guys just your own time and your own kit. But that's it. And as well, as I said, doing low budget short films. So when I first started doing it, all of the guys that were just coming out of college were coming out of college the same time as me. A lot of them have gone on to be very experienced, cameramen, directors and things, all at the same time. And because we built that friendship, they call me to work on their productions now, fully paid, which is great. So
yeah, contacts are everything. Networking is everything. So most of the jobs that you do in TV and film now, are they all special effects?
No, so I'm a generalist. So at London College of Fashion, I studied fashion, hair and makeup, wigs, and then some prosthetics. So we learnt some moulding, we learnt life casting, we learnt foam, gelatin, latex pieces. At the time I did it, silicone didn't exist. So silicone is a relatively new thing. It's probably been around about the last 10 years, decade, just over a decade. So that was something I retrained myself in when I went to Neil Gorton's to learn it. To again, you know, the industry styles, even in makeup, things are always changing. So you've got to try and keep yourself on top of it. There are many great things you can look online. So I recommend Stuart Bray. There's Neil Gorton. Amazing sculptors like Don Lanning, Geordie Shell. Loads of people, and you know, go for artists that are actually working artists. There's lots of people on Instagram that do amazing makeups, but they're just Instagrammers. They're not actually makeup artists. So they might produce great work that looks great on camera, but it's not necessarily what would be seen on a film. So, you know, yes, you can do a lot with tissue paper and latex, but if you rocked up on a professional film and tried to make somebody look like a zombie with tissue paper and latex, it's not how you do it. So you would need to do it in silicones or a gelatin or prosage transfers or whatever it is that the industry is now doing.
Okay, so are you still doing some fashion work as well?
Not really. I did fashion a couple of times, so I did London Fashion Week, but it wasn't for me. I do enjoy making people look great, so I think I prefer more of the music videos. I prefer more of the kind of stylized photo shoots, but catwalk, yeah, not for me.
And they do say special effects is notoriously very, very hard to actually get into. I know, I mean, I've got friends that have been working for 12, 16 years, and they're going down the whole sculpting, set design, art design route, while still trying to get into special effects. It sounds like you've managed to kind of crack it.
I think that's because I had a base in makeup. So I started off in makeup, which means that because I can do so many things, so I'm a generalist, I can always keep myself working. So, you know, I can do more simple makeup on film and then I can jump to special effects. For more of the special effects jobs, it is again about networking, so people knowing who you are and keeping up to date with all your skill sets. So teaching yourself at home, trying to keep going, keep you know, and then doing practices. So a lot of the time I will, as I said, meet with there's a photographer that I work with, and we work on collaborations. We will photograph something a bit quirky, a bit off the wall, and get good images for the portfolio, and just sort of keep it going like that. So you've always got new pictures to show people and new ideas that you've come up with, and yeah, just making sure that you know what you're talking about, I think, as well.
Did you ever go down the route of assisting people whilst working your way up?
No, I didn't. So I went in the weird way. So a lot of the times in films, you know, you'll start off as a trainee, then you'll go to assistant, then you can go to supervisor, then you can go to HID. That's, you know, that's pretty much how it's worked in film. But because I started in fashion, I did a lot of low budget films. I then started working on my own projects. I then was doing photo shoots. I was then doing music videos. I then retrained, and then, you know, was doing dailies here and there. I kind of got into it that way to the point now where I am supervisor HID and I teach it. Oh, we're back.
Paused again and we're back again. So, and what films have you worked on?
As I said, I did Star Wars in the mould room last year. So I was in the special effects department making moulds with lots of fiberglass and itchy pants. That was good. Before that, I was key prosthetics for 5 months on Artemis Fowl at Longcross for Christian Mallet. Before that, I was Doctor Who for Millennium Effects and Neil Gorton. Then I did Discovery of Witches, so I went on as key and did a couple of days doing some various wounds for them. And then before that, I've done things for Royal Variety. I was in the workshop making special effects costume parts for Wonder Woman, Justice League, Life, Alien Covenant, and then I've done dailies for films like Christopher Robin, and also a new film coming out soon called The Personal History of David Copperfield. It's gone again. I was, you know, doing some daily bits there for them, bald caps and things like that.
Okay. So you've been really working at getting a name for yourself for, would you say 18 years?
Yes.
Okay, and you're still working hard.
Yeah,
getting
you never
each
stop.
job.
You never stop working.
So it's not like people know you and you're the go-to person for them to call when they've got something coming up.
I think the industry is so competitive that, you know, and that there's so much talent out there. You know, there's many things that I can't do that other people can, and vice versa. You know, I think it's always staying fresh in people's minds as well. So it's always keeping in contact with people you know. So I do, but you know, when speak English, when a job is coming to an end, with it about a month to go or something like that, I will then go on the email round. So I'll say, you know, hey, it's me again. Haven't spoken to you in 6 months. This is what and we're back again. It's, you know, it's me again. This is what I've been doing. And, you know, have you got any jobs coming up that you think I would be good for? And just kind of keep going like that. And then hopefully, again, somebody will bite. I also do a lot of stuff for Secret Brunch and House of Vans, who are regular clients of mine. So I work with them every year on various different things because they like me and I've built a good network. So again, you know, of course you get repeat business of people like you.
What's the best bit of advice you think you could tell yourself 18 years ago when you were starting out?
Believe in yourself a little bit more and don't compare yourself to everybody else and stop worrying what everyone else is doing. And also, I know it sounds horrible. It's not nice to think that you have to, but you've got to kind of censor yourself on social media. I'm a real gobby person with a lot of opinions and it got me in trouble. So I had to learn to shut up, which was quite difficult. But, you know, whether or not you are a certain person or not, people will form opinions of you based on things you write on Facebook, and it's 9 times out of 10 completely not the sort of person you are. But, you know, it just takes someone to form that one opinion and think, oh, I don't want to give them a job because, you know. So I mainly just talk about my cat, and if that offends anyone, then I give up, really.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I completely put Laura on the spot and said, come on, we need to do an interview, Facebook Live, and Laura went, oh no!
Yeah, thanks for that.
But I think it's really helpful for you guys actually hearing from someone who works in the industry and just their experiences. I think what's really important is to learn that you're not alone in all of this. The fact that we're all plugging away to try and find more work, the fact that it's hard work just to get...
Say that line again.
That is hard work just to get work in the first place. And I also think it's really important to value yourself. We don't always value the time that it takes us to actually build on our website, to email people, to approach people. I'm very guilty of when I had 6 different, you know, jobs going at the same time. And I'd say, I've got a day off tomorrow. Now, a day off would be an admin day. It would be responding to all those emails and everything. I'm sorry, but what other workplace do you call that a day off?
Yeah.
It's not a day off. So it's important to value yourself and the time that you're putting on your business. It's important to plug on. It's really important to network. It's important to do those student films, those low budget films. It's important to put yourself out.
But don't do it for anything less than expensive. If they're not paying you expenses and you're working on somebody else's film to their brief, to their designs, they should be paying you expenses because technically you're doing their job. You're doing a job, for them. Now, it may be low budget, they may not be earning any money from it, they may be self-pocketing it, which is fine, but they should be then covering your expenses. It should cost you nothing to work on somebody else's production. If you can get paid, great, but at the very least your kit and your travel should always be covered, and this is the argument I have all the time. You also need to be very mindful of companies that are being sponsored, do have money, and are saying, oh, come and work for us because it's going to be great for your portfolio or your CV. No, you might get an image out of it, but 9 times out of 10 you don't. And also they're not going to use you again because you're free. They'll just move on to the next person who's free, you know, because they have no intention of ever paying. Even if they do say, oh yeah, we'll pay you next time, they're not going to. If they can get away with doing it for free, they're going to keep doing it for free. That's unfortunately the reality of the industry. So don't get sucked into that one. And also be very mindful of the jobs that are being posted. And also, if it is a professional job and they're paying a low fee, you've got to figure out how much it's going to cost you to do that. So how much is your travel going to be? How much is your kit going to be? And what's say minimum wage. So minimum wage, let's say £10 an hour, okay? You need to be recouping that equivalent back. And if you're not, and you're actually running at a loss, there's no point getting out of bed for it. Value yourself, as Amy has said earlier. You need to value yourself in this industry as well, because there's going to be people that are happy to exploit you left, right and centre, and there are many companies out there who are multi-million-pound companies who will do it because they can. So the whole unpaid thing started back in the 40s and 50s with the fashion houses, who had this big name because obviously back then there was no social media. It was really niche market, so everyone was falling over themselves to work for these companies, and these companies could get interns to work for them because, you know, they were Vogue, they were fashion houses. Back again. They were Vogue, they were fashion houses, and so they could have people work for them for free. The industry in the world is not the same thing anymore. We now have this free reign availability via social media, and companies are still trying to cash in on the old ways, if you like, and people still kind of fall for it. I think out of the 45 low budget films I did, I only got 3 copies of DVDs, and every single job promised me the full film. Every single job promised me all the professional camera stills. Never got any of them. So ultimately all I got was a name on a CV, and I could have just made one up.
That's very true. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us.
No worries.
I am hoping to interview someone working in the industry once a month if I can. So if you have got any questions, please pop them in the comments, or just get in touch with us and say what you really want to know and how.
This is so annoying.
And also how it would help you. One very last question. Did you ever go down the wedding route for your bread and butter money?
What, Reading Festival?
No. Weddings, to do makeup for a wedding.
Yes. Because no, not for me. I love making people feel good. I loved seeing the final results and certainly seeing the lady smile, but oh my God, I met some bridezillas. My favourite was one woman who called her mother the C word on her wedding day because her mother didn't get something or didn't come up with the bouquet in time. And I was just like, yeah, no. I really admire you wedding makeup artists out there, because you go through the ringer with some of these ladies, and some of the demands I see on Facebook, you know, where you've got to do like 6 people in 2 hours. I mean, I don't know how you keep your cool. I can deal with stress, but I can't deal with that level of stress. And if there's nowhere, there's not a dark corner for me to go in and scream, then no. So well done, bridal guys, but not for me.
Okay, so at the moment you're working on an ITV series.
Yeah, can't say the no.
Main concentration. And have you got anything else in your pipeline?
So doing House of Vans on Thursday for the new David Bowie shoe launch. I'm hoping I get some shoes. We'll see. And then
size 6.
Okay. And then I've got a couple of bits and bobs. So I'm doing some stuff with a couple of producing houses at the moment, run by certain actors. So just making some bits for them. And yeah, after that, I don't know. I'm going to have to get on the job hunt again. As I said, about a month before this job finishes, I will start sending the CVs out and the emails and genuinely annoying people, because that's what you've got to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's so annoying.
This has been really informative. I did want to show you what Cerise is doing behind us, but I'm not quite sure my phone capacity is going to help. So whilst it's plugged in, let's see if we can get this tile held up. She's too scared to pick it up in case it all falls down and flops on the floor. That's not what's going to happen. So at the moment, Cerise is sculpting. What have we got? We've got a gunshot there.
A big cut and some self-harm.
So I think tomorrow we're going to be turning those into silicone moulds. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then we're going to be painting that onto the skin.
Well, no, we're going to make them into silicone encapsulated prosthetics. So we'll make the mould this evening, and then we'll turn them into actual prosthetics tomorrow. Obviously, the subject matter in special effects isn't necessarily very nice, so I've had Cerise having to look at real photos this morning. So that is one downside of special effects. You've got to look at horrible pictures, unfortunately.
We grossed her out a little bit today, but you've recovered, haven't you, Cerise? She's getting there. She'll be fine. Okay, and like I say, you can keep up to date with Cerise's progress over. It's a 3-day course that she's doing, and just keep an eye on our story and our posts. thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.